It's not coming on my YouTube. Have you changed the timing parameters or something? Have you done? I, it's not coming on YouTube. Hello. Okay, let me check. So yes, good evening everyone. This side Dr. Abhijeet, and today we are going to cover, yes, the basal ganglia and the meninges of the brain. So I will be starting with the meninges of the brain first, and then I will be moving on to the basal ganglia part. Okay. So before starting the session, just give me a thumbs up in the chat box, guys, if the audio and visuals are perfectly fine. Please just let me know in the chat box if the audio and visuals are perfectly fine, guys. Yes. Yesterday there was a technical glitch, but as of now the things are right perfectly fine. Hmm. Hmm. Yes, Mohit. Yes, hello, beta. So just give me a thumbs up in the chat box if the audio and visuals are fine. Sure. Hmm. Let us now start, guys, with the meninges of the brain. Firstly, I will be covering the meninges and then I will be turning on to the basal ganglia. Okay. Yes. So we are going to start with the meninges of the brain. Yes, Hemant Kashyap, very good. Prabudha, good evening, Dr. Akhilesh. Okay, perfect. Meninges of the brain. Now, guys, you already know from the basics that the brain, it is covered by, okay, it is surrounded by three membranes, guys. Yes, Mohit, it's okay, perfect. The brain, it is basically surrounded by three membranes from inside to outside. Now let us just try to see, guys. If I'm just trying to show you that, let us suppose this is the brain, right? This is the brain, and this brain, basically it is covered by three membranes from outside to inside. The membrane which is closely attached to the brain, guys, the membrane which is closely attached to the brain, it is called as the pia mater. It is called as the pia mater. Then we have another membrane which is above this pia mater, that is called as the arachnoid matter. Arachnoid matter. And the outermost matter, right, which is surrounding the membrane, that is called as the dura matter. That is called as the dura matter. Right. Yes, the pad. The pad. That is the pad. Sure. Yes. Dr. Akhilesh, very good. Now, guys, the thing you can just remember, P se pass, so brain ke pass wala will be the pia matter, and D stands for dur. The one which is very far away, it is dura matter, right? Dura matter, guys, right? So basically, the brain, it is surrounded by three membranes from, yes, from inside to outside, guys. From inside to outside, we have like three membranes, right? We have three membranes. And yes, please remember the order, guys. We have the pia matter, which is like closely adherent to the brain. Then we have the arachnoid matter, and we have the dura matter. We have the dura matter. So we have three matter, the pia, arachnoid, and the dura matter. The pia, arachnoid, and the dura matter, guys, right? Now, guys, starting with the pia matter. Now, let us just discuss about the pia matter over here right now. Yes. So the very first one that we are going to discuss, it is the pia mater, guys. The pia mater. Okay. The pia mater, as you can see, that it is covering the brain like very adherently, very tightly. No, it is trying to cover the brain. So remember, guys, it is a delicate. It is very, very thin, guys. Remember, it is very, very thin. It is delicate, guys. And remember, it is vascular membrane. Now, when I say vascular, guys, what is meant by the term vascular, guys? What is meant by the term vascular, guys? You guys are going to tell me in the chat box what is meant by the term vascular. Vascular का मतलब क्या होता है? Please try to write in the chat box. I am reading your comments as well. Yes, the vascular membrane, right? So it is forming the innermost covering of the membrane, forming the innermost covering of the brain, right? Yes. बेटा न्यूरोवस्कुलर का मतलब होगा blood and nerves both, but over here vascular means the blood supply. Yes, you are right, Dr. Akhilesh Prabhuda, very good. It is the blood supply. So blood supply, it is basically present over here, right? It is a thin, delicate vascular membrane, right, forming the innermost covering of the membrane, right? So it closely surrounds the brain. Okay, and guys, remember, you already know we have this structure that is called as the gyrus and the sulcus in between. We have the gyrus, yes, gyrus, and in between we have sulcus. We have sulcus, right? जो depth है आप लोगों को जो depth दिख रही है, that is the sulcus. Yes. Now guys, try to listen over here that this pia mater, remember that this pia mater, it will be covering the gyrus also, right? It will be covering the gyrus also. And remember, it is carried into the sulcus of the brain as well, right? It is carried into the sulcus of the brain as well. Okay. It is carried into the sulcus. Okay. There are branches of the cerebral arteries. There are branches of the blood vessels called as the cerebral arteries. So let me just try to show you. So along with the branches of the cerebral arteries, basically this pia mater gets into the sulcus of the brain as well. Sulcus of the brain as well, right? So remember, yes, it is carried into all sulci, right? All sulci by the branches of cerebral arteries. Branches of cerebral arteries, important, right? It is carried out into all sulcus by the branches of the cerebral arteries. Okay. Now guys, one more important thing that you have to mention over here, and that we have like repeatedly discussed before as well. So you guys already know it is invaginated. Just try to understand that it is invaginated below the body of the fornix. We have already discussed the fornix, right? Below the body of the fornix. The fornix, right? To form a double layer. To form a double layer called as telechoroidae. Telechoroidae. Right, so you already have discussed about the fornix, and below the body of the fornix, guys, below the body of the fornix, it's running from interior to posterior, and below this body, guys, there is a double layer membrane. It is forming a double layer, and that structure, it is called as the telechoroidae, right? So that is in short about the pia mater. Even guys, you should remember that it sends no tubular sheath around the cranial membranes until and unless now these cranial nerves, the cranial membrane, the cranial nerves, they exit through the cranial cavity. Basically, it is covered by these tubular sheaths that are being basically formed by the pia mater, right? So that is you have to remember about this. Now coming on to the next one that is very, very important, that is called as the arachnoid matter. It is very, very important, guys. Put a dollar sign. I've always told you anything which is important, I will be so you already have beards, it's sharp. Some people are like, now, guys, just try to see about the arachnoid matter, and it is like very, very, very important. Arachnoid matter. Now, guys, when I say arachnoid matter, you already know it is also a thin, delicate membrane. It is also a thin, delicate membrane, and it is outside pia matter. It is outside pia matter. Right? It is outside pia matter. Dr. R.K. Sharma, good evening, beta. Right? Now, guys, you already know. Let us suppose that this is the gyrus, and this is also the gyrus, right? So you can see that this is, yes. Let me just try to write down. This is the gyrus, and this is another gyrus, and you can see that the depression which is formed, it is called as sulci, right? Now, guys, remember that the pia matter will be covering the entire gyrus. It will be going deep into the sulcus, then covering the entire gyrus. This is the pia matter, which I have like written in yellow color. This is the pia matter. Now, remember, guys, the arachnoid matter will cover the gyrus. Okay, the arachnoid matter will cover the gyrus. Okay, but it will never go into the sulcus, and it will try to cover the another gyrus. It is basically forming a bridge over here. So this is the arachnoid matter. This is the arachnoid matter, right? It is not going into the gyrus, guys. It is not going into the, I mean, not into the sulcus, guys. It is forming a bridge above it. So remember, guys, it covers the sulci. Sorry, it covers the gyri, the gyrus, right? Okay, and bridges over sulci, bridges over sulci of the brain, right? It will try to cover the gyrus, but it will never go deep into the sulcus. It will try to form a bridge above, and that is how it goes. How it goes. I hope, guys, you have understand how they are in the brain, guys. Just give me a thumbs up. Okay. चलो एक thumbs up दे दो फटाफट से. Now, guys, remember that this is only carried, again an exceptional point that you have to remember, only carried into the medial longitudinal fissure. I will be teaching you guys the, yes, Akhilesh, very good, good. Munganda Harika official, good. Prabodha, good, good beta, very good. Now, guys, you already know, if there is I'm taking a cranial cavity, guys. If I take a cranial cavity, in the midline of the cranial cavity, the cranial bones, okay, we have a cavity over here, and this is called as the cranial cavity. In the middle, guys, in the middle, we have a fissure, guys. We have a fissure, an opening is there, right? Yes, a depression is there, guys, and that is called as the medial longitudinal fissure. Medial longitudinal fissure, right? So this arachnoid matter goes into this medial longitudinal fissure, guys. It will go into the medial longitudinal fissure. Okay, it will go into the medial longitudinal fissure. Okay, that is something you have to remember, and that is by the falx cerebri. Okay, just the special name, the falx cerebri over here, right? Now, guys, let us just try to understand something very, very important, that this arachnoid matter, forms small masses. Okay, it forms small masses, and these small masses are called as arachnoid villi. Arachnoid villi, and remember, these are, guys, microscopic structures, right? These are microscopic structures, right? The arachnoid villi. I will be teaching you how they are formed, guys. Apart from that, remember they are also carrying, yes, the arachnoid granulations. Arachnoid granulations, guys. Arachnoid granulations. I will be teaching this. No need to worry. Yes. Now this is something which is macroscopic, right? This is macroscopic. Okay. Now, which remember, guys, there is a sinus above that is called as the superior sagittal sinus, and we have the transverse sinus. I will be starting, guys, with the head and neck part, either from tomorrow or from day after tomorrow. And I will be teaching you the bones first, guys. I will be teaching you the bones. The ones who are attending the session, kindly, please don't miss out the head and neck lectures because they are very, very, very important, guys. They are like important. Yes, they are important, and this is something that you can't like skip, right? So now, guys, now, guys, again, let me just take an example. Now, let us suppose that this is the brain. Okay. Now, let us suppose that this is the brain, and yes, the brain, it is covered. Okay, the brain, it is having this pia matter, and outside the pia matter, guys, you already know we have this. Yes, the arachnoid matter, right? We have the arachnoid matter, and between the pia and the arachnoid matter, this space, guys, this space between the pia and the arachnoid matter, it is called a subarachnoid space. It is called as subarachnoid space. A very limited space is present. A very limited space is present. That is called as the subarachnoid space, guys. It is called as the subarachnoid space, right? Now, this subarachnoid space, what it will contain? Cerebrospinal fluid. It will contain the cerebrospinal fluid. Important, cerebrospinal fluid, right? It will contain the like the blood vessels, the arteries and veins on the outer surface of the brain, right? And yes, yes, it is the cerebrospinal fluid. You are right, guys, right? Now, guys, now what happens that there are like, okay, let me just try to make it, guys, so that you can understand. Yes, let us just try to make it once. Yes. Now let us just try to see over here, guys. Now you already know that, let us suppose this is the pia matter, right? This is the pia matter, right? Now basically we have this, yes, the extensions, guys, you already know. The arachnoid matter will be there, right? Now this arachnoid matter will be having these finger-like projections which you can see, and these are called as villi. These are called as villi. Okay, on both the sides, right? So I'm taking only like trying to draw both. These are called as villi, right? So yes, now this is the, let us suppose this is the pia matter, right? This is the pia matter, and this is the arachnoid. Okay, let me. Okay, this is the arachnoid matter. Arachnoid matter, and these arachnoid matter, basically they are forming these finger-like projections, and these finger-like projections, these are called as villi. These are called as villi, right? Now guys, now these villi, okay, they are, if they become old, right, if they are clustered, guys, these are something which is called as arachnoid granulations, which I already told you right now. Okay, these are also called as arachnoid granulation if these villi are like clustered. Shri, good evening, beta. Good evening, yes. Now what happens, guys, over here? What happens over here, guys? Now What will happen, guys? Now this space in between, guys, this space which I'm highlighting, this is which space, guys? Can anyone tell me in the chat box? This is which space, guys? Yes, this is which space, and what is this space carrying? What is this green color fluid, guys? Sure. Please try to answer this. What is this green color fluid which you can see over here? Yes, anyone in the chat box? Now, you guys already know beta. This is the, yes. Very good, Prabhuda. Very good. It is the subarachnoid space. It is subarachnoid space, and it is carrying CSF. Carrying CSF, cerebrospinal fluid. Now, with the help of these projections, yes, Dr. Akhilesh, Munganda, Shri, very good, beta, very good. Yes, utterly very good. Yes. Now, what will happen, guys? These finger-like projections, right? They will transfer the cerebrospinal fluid, okay? Cerebrospinal fluid into the dural venous sinuses. Now, what is this dural venous sinuses? Let us just try to understand one more layer over here, guys. Inside, okay, outside the arachnoid matter, you have this pia matter, then you have this arachnoid matter, and then remember, guys, this arachnoid matter, we have like, yes, okay, the dura matter. Now, this dura matter, it is basically like, okay, one layer which will be like adherent to the dura matter, guys. Okay, this dura matter will be having two layers, guys, right? Yes, the inner meningeal layer will be there, and we will have the outer endosteal layer. I will be teaching you this also. So this dura matter, it is basically having these two layers, right? And we have a fluid over here that is called as the dural venous sinuses, right? The dural venous sinuses. So this arachnoid matter, okay, this arachnoid matter, what it will do, it will give this finger-like projections to send the cerebrospinal fluid directly between the meningeal and the endosteal layer. And that is something yes, that you have to remember. That is, yes, it will, this is the CSF, this CSF from the arachnoid, and I mean the subarachnoid space, with the help of this villi will go directly into this cavity. Okay, and that is containing the dural venous sinuses. So it will be mixing with it. It will be mixing with it, right? So yes, right? So that is something you have to remember. If you want me to highlight in this picture, guys, you can just see, yes, just close to the arachnoid matter, we have the meningeal layer, right? The meningeal layer, this blue one. Yes, this is the meningeal layer. And outside this meningeal layer, guys, you will have, yes, the endosteal layer. Endosteal layer. And between them, we have the dural venous sinuses. So these projections will be carrying the fluid into the dural venous sinuses, Priyanka, yes, I will be teaching it. No need to worry, yaar. I will be teaching it. Absolutely no need to worry. Right? Yeah. Hmm. चलो इतना क्लियर है सब लोगों को? फटाफट से एक थम्स अप दे दो जल्दी से, फटाफट से एक थम्स अप दे दो जल्दी से. Right now, I'll be focusing on the arachnoid matter. Yes, I will be more focusing on the arachnoid matter. Yes. चलो. Akhilesh, Prabudha, very good. Munganda, okay. Up now, guys. There are several places in the brains, the several places in the brains where you will find a structure that is called a cistern. Okay, now we are going to discuss about, okay, let me take the next page, and then over here, yes, we are discussing the arachnoid matter only. We are discussing the arachnoid matter only. And in the arachnoid matter, now we are going to focus on the subarachnoid cisterns. Very, very, very important. Now, what is this subarachnoid cistern, guys? What is this cistern? You already know, guys. We have this. Okay, let me just show you first. We have this pia matter, right? We have the pia matter. Simply, if I talk about, right? This is the pia matter. Pia matter. Then we have the arachnoid matter. Okay, arachnoid matter. And remember, guys, if there is large space, okay, if there is large space between the pia and the arachnoid matter, okay, everywhere the space is like normal, right? Okay, everywhere the space is normal, right? We have a very less subarachnoid space, but there will be some spaces, guys, there will be some spaces at which there will be large gaps. This large subarachnoid space, okay, we have a small subarachnoid space, small, large subarachnoid space, okay. Now, large subarachnoid space, it will be between arachnoid and pia mater only. We have a very narrow space usually. There are certain places in the brain, okay, where the space will be large. I mean, yeah, the space will be large, right? The pia and the arachnoid matter, they are widely separated from each other, right? Leading to the widening of the subarachnoid space, and that is something called as subarachnoid cistern. Okay, that is something called as the subarachnoid cistern. Okay. Now these are the areas, guys, areas in which arachnoid and pia matter are widely separated. Widely separated, right? They are widely separated, leading to widening of subarachnoid space. Shiv Shakti, hello beta, hello. Subarachnoid space, and remember that they are called as cisterns. They are called as cisterns, guys. They are called as cisterns, right? They are called as cisterns. Now over here, guys, we have various cisterns, guys. Let us first try to name them, and then I will be trying to show you. I will be showing you the diagrams then, right? The very first one, remember, guys, it is cerebello medullary cistern. Cerebellomedullary cistern. Yes, this is also called as cisterna magna. This is also called as cisterna magna. Then we have pontine cistern. Pontine cistern, right? We have the interpeduncular cistern. Interpeduncular cistern. We have cistern of lateral sulcus. Cistern of the lateral sulcus. We have cistern of corpus callosum. Corpus callosum, right? We have cistern of the great cerebral vein. Then we also have, yes, okay, just you can remember for the sake of remembering, chiasmatic cistern, right? Chiasmatic cistern. So yes, let us just try to discuss it one by one. Let us just try to discuss it one by one, guys. Right? Let us just try to discuss it one by one. Now, Now, to understand this, guys, let us just take a sagittal section of the brain. Let us take a sagittal section of the brain, right? And you guys already know. Let us just try to take a sagittal section, and you guys already know we have this corpus callosum, and I even don't need to tell you guys this is the corpus callosum, right? Then obviously we have this midbrain. So I'm not drawing the brain completely, guys. Then the pons, and then yes, we have the medulla oblongata, which continues as the, yes, the spinal cord, right? Behind, guys, you already know, yes, over here, if you can just see, hmm, okay, we have the floor of the fourth ventricle, and behind the floor of the fourth ventricle, guys, you will be finding out over here we have the cerebellum, right? So yes, let us just try to make it more simple, guys, as you can draw, right? So that is something you have to remember. So you already know this is the cerebellum. Cerebellum, behind we have cerebellum. आगे की तरफ क्या है? We have the pons, right? We have the midbrain, the midbrain. Then we have the medulla oblongata, right? And this medulla oblongata, yes, goes down, yes, and below the level of the foramen magnum, it continues as like the spinal cord, right? We have the spinal cord over here. We have the spinal cord over here, right? So that is something basic, and you guys already know this. You guys already know this. Now, over here, guys, let us just try to see. You already know that the entire this structure, it is basically getting covered by this pia matter. And if I just want to show the arachnoid matter over here, guys, the arachnoid matter. So yes, we have like large spaces in front of the pon. There's like continuous with the medulla oblongata, right? We have a large space over, yes, in front of midbrain also, right? And remember over here, let me just try to show you. Yes. Yes, it's covering from above, and we have a large space over here also, right? And yes, below, yes. Now, guys, let us just try to see. Let us just try to see what are the spaces we get over here. What are the spaces we get over here? Okay. So you can very well see, guys, over here. Yes, this particular space. Okay, this particular space where there is like more gap. I'm just trying to show this with the yellow color. Don't think it's pia matter. Okay, if you will get confused, let me. Yes, you already know we have this pia matter, right? We have the pia matter, right? I hope you can very well see this is the pia matter which is running, right? So it is covering over here. Hmm. Now you guys already know. Let me just mark for you people. Yes, this is the yellow color. It is the pia matter, and the outside we have the arachnoid matter. Arachnoid matter. Pia matter, arachnoid matter. In between we have the, yes, the subarachnoid space. The subarachnoid space. Now, guys, you can very well see if this is the arachnoid and this is the pia matter. Okay, the pia matter. Can you see the space over here, which is very large, which is very large over here? Yes, I'm talking about this particular space, the subarachnoid space. It is widened over here. It is like widened over here. It is like, yes. So this space, guys, this largening of the subarachnoid space at certain places only. Okay, over here also you can see, right? Over here also you can see. These are something which are called as cisterns. In front of pons also you can see. In front of midbrain also you can see, right? In front of midbrain also you can see. Let me try to, yes. Right? So these are something which are called as cisterns. So the basic ones which I can show you right now over here. This one, guys, remember it is the superior cistern. Okay, we have just mentioned it also. Yes. Okay, we haven't mentioned it. So yes, okay. I will be telling you the other name of this, and you guys already know this. So you are going to tell me. It is called as the superior cistern, or it is also called as quadrigeminal cistern. It is called as superior cistern or quadrigeminal cistern, right? Now, we have discussed the midbrain, guys. Now let us understand what is this cistern, guys. You already know we have discussed the midbrain. Midbrain on the posterior side. If I just talk about this, it is going from anterior to posterior like this, because behind we have cerebellum. Now, if we talk about the posterior surface of the midbrain, guys, midbrain has four colliculus, right? We already discussed two superior colliculus, two inferior colliculus. Together, they are called as corpora quadrigemina. They are called as corpora quadrigemina, right? Now, guys, what is happening in this cistern, the superior cistern? The name itself says quadrigeminal cistern. The name itself says quadrigeminal cistern. Basically, this cistern, it is basically facing the dorsal aspect of the midbrain, the superior colliculus and the inferior colliculus. These together are called as corpora quadrigemina. So basically, this cistern, it is facing towards the posterior surface of the midbrain. That's why the name it is called as quadrigeminal cistern, and it is located superiorly. So we also call it as the superior cistern. We also call it as the superior cistern, right? So that is about the superior cistern. So basically all the superior colliculus, inferior colliculus, which are on the posterior side of the midbrain, right, on the posterior surface, basically they make the posterior surface, guys, right? So that's why this cistern is called as the quadrigeminal cistern or the superior cistern. Is it clear, beta? Everyone, just give me a thumbs up in the chat box if it is clear. Now, guys, in front of pons, it is called as pontine cistern. In front of pons, it is called as pontine cistern. Chalo, Akhilesh Singh, very good, very good. What about rest, guys? Right? Now, basilar artery will be running in front of the pons, right? We have already discussed yesterday. The two vertebral arteries will be joining together to form the basilar artery also, and it will be running in front of this, right? So that is something you have to remember. Yeah, Prabhuda, very good, right? Very good, very good. Yes. Munganda, very good. Again, guys, there is one question that they have asked multiple times, that what is the content of this quadrigeminal cistern? Remember, guys, over here one vein is passing, and that is called as the great cerebral vein. Great cerebral vein. Okay, it continues backwards, no, to from the straight sinus. That is the vein of Galen. Vein of Galen. So that is passing from the superior cistern, guys. That is you have to remember, right? Apart from that, this pontine cistern will be containing an artery which will be running in front of this ponton, and that is called as the basilar artery. Basilar artery, right? Basilar artery, right? Now, coming on to the one which we have already discussed over here, that is the cisterna magna. Now, guys, you can very well see this is the medulla oblongata, and it is lying just back. Okay, okay. Let me just have not named it. Okay, let me just named it, guys. It is called as the cerebello medullary cistern. It is below the cerebellum, behind the medulla oblongata. It is called as cerebello medullary cistern, guys. It is also called as, yes, the cisterna magna. cisterna magna, guys. Now it lies between the back of the medulla and the inferior part of the cerebellum. The inferior part of the cerebellum. Now it communicates with the fourth ventricle, guys, by the three small openings. That's something you don't have to remember over here, right? As of now, just remember this is just on the inferior part of the cerebellum and behind the medulla oblongata, right? Coming on to the next one, guys. Yes. Coming on to the next one, that is the you have already discussed. Yes. Now in front of the midbrain, guys, we have another cistern. Yes, that is called as the interpeduncular cistern. Interpeduncular cistern, and I think I don't even need to tell you guys because we have discussed the interpeduncular fossa also, right? We have discussed this interpeduncular fossa also, right? Which is like the true crus cerebri of the midbrain. In between, we have the interpeduncular fossa, and just in front of that, this cistern is present. That is the interpeduncular cistern. That is the interpeduncular cistern, guys. Okay, it is between the two cerebral peduncles of the midbrain. We have already discussed this interpeduncular fossa in detail, and that is just present in front of it, so that's why it is called as the interpeduncular cistern, right? So that is you have to remember. Okay, so yes, guys, one we have already discussed, right? One, guys, you already know. Let us just try to understand this. You already know this is the lateral sulcus. The lateral sulcus has three parts. This is the anterior. This is the ascending part. This is the ascending part, and this is the posterior part of the lateral sulcus. Posterior part of lateral sulcus. Lateral sulcus. And over here, guys, we have it is given a special name that is called as the Sylvian sulcus. It is given a special name called as the Sylvian sulcus, and you can very well appreciate over here basically what will be passing. Yes, the middle cerebral artery will be passing in this Sylvian sulcus. Yes, the middle cerebral artery, and over here basically we have a cistern over here, right? We have a cistern, and that cistern, guys, you already know that is called as the cisterna ambiens, right? Sorry. Yeah, it is not the cisterna ambiens. Sorry. It is the, yes, the Sylvian cistern, right? Just based on the name, it is the Sylvian cistern, right? It's based on the name, it is the Sylvian cistern. So yes, I hope this is clear to each one of you guys. Just try to give me a thumbs up over here if you are done with this. If you are done with this, guys, just try to give me a thumbs up in the chat box. Chalo, we have already completed the major cisterns, guys, right? So yes, Munganda, very good. Harika, yes. We have discussed the pia matter, we have discussed the arachnoid matter. Now coming on to the dura matter, guys. Now coming on to the dura matter. Just 1 second. Let me just put the charger, guys. I will be starting with the head and neck, Samantha, very soon. I mean, like tomorrow or day after tomorrow, I will be starting with the head and neck part. So you can join there and then also. No need to worry. It's absolutely okay. No, not an issue. Yes. Now let us just complete this topic, guys, and yes, let us discuss about the dura matter. Yes, let us discuss about the dura matter now. The third one, that is the dura matter, and we already know we have We have to just focus a little over here, right? Remember, it is a thick membrane, guys. The former two, I mean the pia mater and the arachnoid matter, they are like comparatively thin as compared to the dura mater. Yes, it is like thicker. Okay. So it is a thick membrane. It is a thick membrane covering the outermost, like it is forming the outermost covering of the brain, right? So it consists of two layers. It consists of two layers, and I have already told you guys, yes, we have the outer layer. Outer layer, it is called as the endosteal layer. Endosteal layer, okay? And we also have, let me just shift over here. Yeah. The inner layer, and remember guys, the inner layer, it is also called as the meningeal layer. Meningeal layer. Meningeal layer, right? Now, basically, when I say outer layer, so outer will be more towards the skull part. It will be more towards the skull part, guys. So you already know it lines the inner surface of the skull. Lines inner surface of skull. Skull bones, right? Bones की तरफ होगा सबसे बाहर वाला layer. Now the inner one, it surrounds and protects the brain. It surrounds and protects the brain, right? Now, it sends tubular extensions, okay, or you can just remember over here, because it is like the function of all the three, one over here. It sends the tubular extension around the cranial nerves, I mean, right? So that is for protection, right? So it has four septas, guys, right? It is basically, yeah, it sends the four septas which are like going inwards like this, right? So this is the meningeal layer, right? You already know the septas are the falx cerebri. Falx cerebri, yes. Falx cerebelli. Okay, we have tentorium cerebelli. We have already told you it's the fold of the dura mater, right? Which layer? It is the meningeal layer which is getting infolded, right? So we have tentorium cerebelli. The tentorium cerebelli, guys, you already know. Let us suppose that this is the cerebrum. Okay, and yes, we have the midbrain, pons, medulla, right? And behind guys, we have the cerebellum. So basically cerebellum, it is like separated from the cerebrum with a thick fold of dura. That is something called as tentorium cerebelli, which we have already discussed, right? When I was telling you about the cerebellum, so it is the thick fold of dura mater only, which is coming in between, which is separating the cerebellum and the cerebrum, right? The inferior surface of the cerebrum from the upper part of the cerebellum, right? Yes, and we have like much more thing, right? Now, remember guys, the two layers, guys, they are fused together, right? The two layers, the endosteal layer and the meningeal layer, okay? They are fused together. Let me just show you. If this is the endosteal layer and this is the meningeal layer, they are fused together, but at certain places, guys, they are not fusing with each other. They are not fusing with each other, and that is something which will be giving rise to, yeah, we have a fluid over here that is called as the dural venous sinuses. Dural venous sinuses, guys. Dural venous sinuses. Dural venous sinuses, right? To form the venous sinuses, and these are specially called as the dural venous sinuses. Endosteal and meningeal, they are basically tightly adherent to each other, but at certain places the gap is like more, and that over here the fluid which you will get over here, that is called as the dural venous sinuses. That is something you have to remember, right? So yes, just give me a thumbs up in the chat box, guys, if this is clear. The topic of this, the meninges of the brain, it is clear to each one of you. I'm just waiting for your thumbs up in the chat box, guys. So yes, before starting with the basal ganglia, please let me know if it is clear to each one of you. Chalo, Akhilesh, very good. Prabudha, Munganda, Harika, very good, very good. What about rest, guys? Are you all aware? Awake? I suppose you all are like watching. I mean, the ones who are there, they will actually benefit a lot. Please let me know from which college you guys are. I mean, from which university you are. Hmm. So yes, the next topic that is our point of discussion for today. That is the basal ganglia. That is the basal ganglia that I will be discussing it right now. Okay. So let us start with the basal ganglia. Hmm. So let us start with the basal ganglia. Now, the very first thing that we always do in our every yes, I'm from KSMA. Very good, Peter. The definition of the basal ganglia. It is very important. Now, what is this basal ganglia? Now, they are basically the collections of gray matter. Remember, simply they are collections of gray matter. They are collections of gray matter, okay, deeply placed inside the white matter of cerebral hemisphere. So remember, guys, they are deeply placed inside white matter of cerebral hemisphere. They are collections of gray matter deeply placed inside the white matter of cerebral hemispheres, right? Now, guys, whenever we discuss about the components, guys, whenever we try to discuss about the components over here, they are again like very important. Okay, the components, they are again like very important. Hmm. Just look at side for the phone, it's in charging. So yes, I'll be reading your comments also. No need to worry if there is any kind of doubt, guys. You right? Now, anatomically, guys, if we talk about the anatomical components, now we have like two components, guys. Anatomically, it is basically divided into, or the components, if I talk about anatomically, we have the corpus striatum, we have claustrum. I will be teaching you, no need to worry. It is the claustrum, guys. Claustrum function is not known up till now. Yes, it's an unknown function. It's a thin of like it's a very thin sheet of gray matter, guys. Right? We have already discussed this. I have already told you about the claustrum. It's a very thin sheet of gray matter present to no the to the lentiform nucleus, guys. Right? Apart from that, guys, you should be aware of the amygdaloid body. Amygdaloid body. And yes, we have another components, guys. Yes, over here. That is, yeah, that is not the main part, guys, over here. But yes, these are the physiological components, guys, that you have to remember. The substantia nigra of the midbrain. Substantia nigra of midbrain. I hope you guys remember whenever we have taken a section of the midbrain, guys. When I have taken a section of the midbrain, and I have told you guys that this part, the most anterior most part, in like this is crus cerebri, or we have cerebral peduncles, right? Over here, yes, the most anterior part we have substantia nigra. the substantia nigra. So it's making a physiological component of the basal ganglia over here, right? It's making a physiological component of the basal ganglia over here, right? So that is the substantia nigra that you have to remember. We have something called as subthalamus, and we also have the red nucleus, guys, red nucleus. Remember the first three, basically they are the anatomical components, and all of them guys, they are like the physiological components physiological components. Now so yes, now chalo, I hope everyone has written up till here. Just give me a thumbs up, guys, if you have written up till here. Yeah. Now, whenever we talk about this corpus striatum, guys, this corpus striatum is having two components, guys, that we have to like focus over here, right? The corpus, yes, Prabhuda, very good. Ram, very good. Yes, Dr. Akhilesh, very good, very good. Corpus striatum, it is having two components, guys, that you have to remember. It is formed of lentiform nucleus, okay, it and the caudate nucleus, and the caudate nucleus. And you guys already know that these lentiform nucleus, caudate nucleus, they are basically the extra pyramidal centers, right? They are the extra pyramidal centers, right? Now, remember this lentiform nucleus, it is again having two parts, guys. It is again having two parts. One, it is called as globus pallidum, and the other one, it is called as putamen, right? So that is something you have to remember over here. The corpus striatum consists of the lentiform nucleus and the caudate nucleus. And yes, this lentiform nucleus consists of the globus pallidum and the putamen. Right? Now, caudate nucleus, guys, if you just want to write something about this. Okay. Now, caudate nucleus, remember that it is a very like okay, the caudate nucleus, guys, it is comma shaped, just by the name, guys. It is comma shaped mass of gray matter. Mass of gray matter. It is comma shaped mass of the gray matter. It is comma shaped mass of gray matter. Now it is having like three parts, guys, right? It is having the three parts. Now now guys, if you can just identify, guys, over here, right? Let me just try to show you guys over here, right? Can you identify, guys, which ventricle is this? Can you identify which ventricle is this? I want the answers in the chat box. Can anyone identify which ventricle is this? Yes, and just this ventricle, just like yes. Now we have the caudate nucleus over here, guys. It is having like three parts. First is the head, then we have the body. Yes, and yes, and the thin part, that is the tail. So just remember, this is the tail, this is the body of the caudate nucleus, and this is the head of the caudate nucleus. Yes, the third ventricle, okay, not beta, it is not the third one, it is the lateral ventricle. Yeah, it is the lateral ventricle, guys. We have drawn this lateral ventricle, right? So we are just talking on the medial aspect, guys, right? The medial aspect, and it is having like three parts: the head, body, and tail. The head, body, and the tail, right? So that is something you have to remember. It's just like this. Then we have got, okay, you already know the lentiform nucleus, guys. If in short I want to describe about the lentiform nucleus, remember it is lens-like. It is lens-like. Yes, it is the lateral one. UTT, very good. Yashoda Singh, very good. It is the lateral one, guys. It is the lateral one. So yes, I have not drawn, like not highlighted this, but this is something you have to remember, the caudate nucleus. Now coming on to the lentiform nucleus, guys, lentiform nucleus. We have drawn a diagram yesterday, and that diagram was of the internal capsule, right? Day before yesterday also we have like drawn this diagram, and you already know the parts: the anterior limb, the genu, the posterior limb, the retrolentiform part, and below we have the sublentiform part, right? So this is the internal capsule. Internal capsule. Now guys, medial to the internal capsule, guys, you will see over here an ovoid mass, right? The comma shaped mass, that is called as the caudate nucleus, right? The caudate nucleus, especially the body of the caudate nucleus over here. And guys, over here you will see, yes, the thalamus over here, right? Now guys, in this part, guys, over here you will be finding this, what we say, yeah, the lentiform nucleus. Yes, you already know it is lateral and it is medial. So caudate nucleus is basically medial to this internal capsule, and lentiform it is somewhat lateral. Now guys, this lentiform nucleus, it is divided into, yes, we have two parts of the lentiform nucleus. The inner core part, guys, you can very well see it is the, yes, globus pallidum, and the outermost part it is called as the putamen. Okay, so putamen, it is the large, okay, it is the large part, or it is the darker lateral part, guys. It is large, darker lateral part. And globus pallidum, it is basically, yes, the smaller part. Yes, it is the paler part. Okay, it is the medial part. It is the medial part, right? So that is about the lentiform nucleus that you have to remember. Caudate done, lentiform done. One more is, guys, over here. Yes, one more is over here, that is called as the okay, we have just mentioned its name. Yes, amygdaloid body, guys. Amygdaloid body. Remember, guys, that this is a small mass basically. Okay, let me just take it over here, and you can just mention, yes, it is a small mass. It is rounded, right? It is a small mass, rounded, right? Okay, you might have heard about the uncus of the temporal bone. So it is mostly in the uncus of temporal bone. Uncus of temporal bone. Temporal bone. Okay. It is basically joined to the tail of this. If I just want to show you, guys, if I just want to show you, yeah, this is the tail part, and on this tail, guys, basically we have this, yes, amygdaloid body. Yes, so it joins the tail of this caudate nucleus. It joins the tail of this caudate nucleus, right? So yes, the claustrum, guys, we have already discussed in detail, right? We have already discussed in detail. So yes, as of now, we have to just understand the efferents and the efferents of this over here, right? Now, if you guys just watch this, guys, uh, from the lateral side, guys, this basal ganglia. So you can see that we have the lentiform nucleus, okay, right? To the lentiform nucleus, basically, okay, we'll be watching the lentiform nucleus. If you just want, I'll just try to draw it for you people as well. If we talk about the relations, guys, you already know how does it looks like. Yes. Now, if I'm taking the lateral side, guys, I'm watching it from the lateral aspect, guys. You already know we have the lentiform nucleus, right? I'm just trying to make a view over here, the lentiform nucleus. Then we have the caudate nucleus, which is now turning around, the caudate nucleus going around, okay, and coming in front. In between, guys, you already know we have the corona radiata, right? The corona radiata, which is running, right? So it is first, it is like this lateral to it, and then guys, it is coming in front of this corona radiata, right? Like medial to corona radiata, right? And then we have this amygdaloid body. It is somewhat like that when you see, guys, laterally, when you see it laterally, right? So yes, over here we'll be now focusing on the efferents and the efferents, guys. The efferents and the efferents. So before that, just give me a thumbs up, guys. You are like aware what we are discussing. Yes. चलो फटाफट से जवाब दे दो. हम्म. हम्म. Now we are going to discuss the internal structure of the basal ganglia. Internal structure of the basal ganglia, and remember, guys, that over here I will be focusing on the nuclei. The nuclei, right? The nuclei, guys, right? Now we have the three nucleus, guys. You already know. We will see what afferents and efferents basically they're coming from which part, right? So basal ganglia, you already know we have corpus striatum, and corpus striatum has two parts, right? The corpus striatum has the two parts. I hope you guys are alive. Just give me a thumbs up over here in the chat box, guys. You're writing the notes, right? We have the caudate nucleus, and along with that we have the lentiform nucleus. Lentiform nucleus, right? The lentiform nucleus has two parts. Yes, the putamen and the globus pallidus. Globus pallidus, right? Now, yes, Munganda, very good. Akhilesh, very good. Now, connections of the corpus striatum. Okay, if we just talk about the connections of this part, the connections. Let us first talk about the efferent fibers. Efferent fibers. Now, guys, over here, just try to remember over here, guys. Now, let us suppose that this is the internal capsule. Right? We have the caudate nucleus over here. This is the caudate nucleus. And yes, over here we have this lentiform nucleus, which is having two parts, the globus pallidus and the putamen. This is the lentiform nucleus. Lentiform nucleus, right? And below, guys, you already know we have the thalamus. Yes, below we have the thalamus, guys, right? Now, over here, guys, just remember that, yes, the globus pallidus part, it is basically the sending the efferent fibers forward. Now, guys, let me just try to show you if these are the cerebral cortex. Let us just try to mark it over here. If this is the cerebral cortex, so basically the efferent fibers, they are three in number. They are three in number, and these are corticostriate fibers. Corticostriate fibers. Yes, we have thalamostriate fibers, and we also have, yes, yes, the third one, guys, which you can just remember, it is the substantia nigra fibers. So they are also called as nigrostriate fibers. Nigrostriate fibers. Now, guys, you already know, yes, the corticostriate fibers from the putamen part, okay, they will be going directly into the cerebral cortex. They will be going directly into the cerebral cortex. Yes, from the putamen part, they will be going directly into the cerebral cortex. These are called as the corticostriate fibers. Corticostriate fibers, right? So they are directly going into the cerebral cortex, right? Now, from the thalamus, yes, guys, you already know this. Yes, from the thalamus, we have the fibers which will be going to the caudate nucleus, right? We have the fibers going onto the caudate nucleus, guys. So these fibers are called as thalamostriate fibers. Thalamostriate fibers. Thalamostriate fibers. Now we also have fibers coming from the midbrain. Now you guys already know. Let us just suppose that this is the midbrain, cross section of the midbrain. I have already told you we have crus cerebri over here, and over here we have this substantia nigra. We have already discussed this in the the sections of the midbrain. We have substantia nigra. Now guys, what will happen? Yes, the fibers will be coming directly from the substantia nigra and it will be going to the putamen. It will be going to the putamen. These are called as, yes, the nigrostriate fibers, right? These are called as the nigrostriate fibers. The nigrostriate fibers, right? So these are the three afferents that you have to remember, guys. Yes, the three afferents that you have to remember. In case of corpus striatum, the three afferent that you have to remember. So guys, just try to give me a thumbs up in the chat box if you like understood this. Yes, it's like more you draw, guys, the more you will try to remember in exam as well. The efferents, basically they come out from the globus pallidus. Yes, I am just writing down the efferents because yeah, if this is the okay, let me okay again try to draw for you people so that you guys can easily make it out. We have the globus pallidus and we have the putamen. So this is again the lentiform nucleus, right, which is surrounding this internal capsule. This is the internal capsule. Sure, very good. Munganda, very good. Now guys, they emerge from the efferent. I'm talking about the efferent fibers now. The efferent fibers now. Basically, they will be emerging from the globus pallidus of the lentiform nucleus, right? In the form of bundles, which will be passing on to the extrapyramidal centers. The names, guys, that you have to remember, we have like three fibers coming from the globus pallidus over here. So remember, we have ansa lenticularis, ansa lenticularis, yes, fasciculus lenticularis, and we also have subthalamic fasciculus. Subthalamic fasciculus. And remember, guys, these all fibers, they are going to the subthalamus. They are going to subthalamus. Yes, they are going to the subthalamus, guys. Right? So that is something you have to remember over here. Now coming on to the one which is left, guys, amygdaloid nucleus. Yes, the one which is left, that is the amygdaloid nucleus. Yes. that is the body part, guys, right? Especially the body, that is the part of the limbic system, the limbic lobe. So basically the afferent fibers and the efferent fibers. Remember, guys, the afferent, basically they come from the olfactory tract. Okay, they receive the afferent fibers from the olfactory, and efferents basically constitute the stria terminalis. Stria terminalis. No, guys, this stria terminalis, guys, you already know it passes Okay, it passes first backwards, guys, right? In the roof of the inferior horn of the lateral ventricle. Now, if I just try to show the lateral ventricle, so you guys already know we have the inferior horn of the lateral ventricle. So basically, these stria terminalis, it will be like first passing backward in the roof of the inferior horn, okay, of the lateral ventricle. Then it will curve downwards to the cerebral part of the I mean, in the floor of the central part, right, of the lateral ventricle. Now, the stria terminalis, basically, it is ending. Now, these fibers, they are ending in the septic. Okay, you might have heard about the septal nuclei, guys, that we have talked about in septum lucidum. Okay, the septum lucidum, guys. Okay, they also end in the anterior nuclei of the hypothalamus. Anterior nuclei of hypothalamus, okay, and the habenular nuclei, guys, right? So yes, now the habenular nuclei, guys, basically you have to remember the stria terminalis, guys, serves as a pathway for connection of the olfactory and the visceral functions, guys. That is something you have to remember about the amygdaloid nucleus, guys. So that is about the, yes, the basal ganglia and the meninges of the brain that we have discussed in detail, guys. The meninges of the brain that we have discussed. Now, before that, guys, I just wanted everyone to answer this. Like, yes, which topic you guys want me to start next? I want to start with head and neck, guys, and that too with the basic part, that is the bones. If you don't know the bones, there is no point like teaching further. Yes, the head and neck is something very, very like I would say the most important part. Yeah, because it's very difficult to understand. But once you understand from the core, from the basics, and this time, guys, I will be like showing you the diagrams. I will be showing you the diagrams from the atlas also. We will draw also, and I will be showing you the yeah, I will be showing you, yes, the diagrams from the atlas also. We will try to draw it also, and each and every bone we will discuss, right? So that is, yeah, tomorrow or day after tomorrow, I'll be starting with it. So yes, sure. So let's end the class today, guys, right? Let's end the class.